when you see the crowd standing for most of the game, certainly all the third period, did it feel like more than just a hockey game to you, the emotions?
Well, now that we can take a breath here, right, and we end up winning the series, I couldn't be happier for, I mean, that building, I've been fortunate enough to be in some pretty big games and loud buildings. Man, that building tonight, that was just unbelievable. So I'm thrilled for not only the people that have followed the team, but also the people in the organization here too. But just remember, it's one round, and we're thinking about other things as we go along here. But I know that's a burden that's been here, not winning a round in the organization. I'm thrilled for the people that have grinded through this, and get to have a little bit of excitement here as we get ready to play our second round.
Coach, as you go forward in the playoffs, right over here.
Where am I at? Okay.
As you go forward in the playoffs, you know, they say you have to learn how to win. What did your club learn, do you think, along this process, and just as far as the confidence of being able to what they did as you head forward?
Well, I think I think if there is a belief that you can get things done as a team, I think it's very important when you're probably, you know, skill-wise, and, you know, let's face it, Tampa had just an unbelievable regular season, and we were matched up against them, but you can get so many things accomplished if you just have that belief as a team to do things the right way. We adjusted a little bit in how we play. I think the guys, after a very rough first period in the first game, really actually just the last 10 minutes of that first period, I just thought they just hung in there, and I'm happy for them because they played as a team, and they had a tremendous amount of will. That's mental. That's not a talent. That's not physical skills. That is a mental toughness. And that's what I'm thrilled about, for those guys to enjoy themselves now is what they're doing in that locker room, to really feel like they willed themselves, but also knowing there's more to come here.
This might build on that a little bit, but coaches all across sports always say no matter what has happened, good or bad, put it behind you, keep going forward. That was something you kind of talked about throughout this series, but it's a lot harder to actually do that than say it. What is it impressive to see how your team was able to do that no matter what happened? It just kept kind of the eyes on the prize.
Yeah, we did. We just kept the conversation going, and we talked about it. I've said it a number of times to you guys that once the series starts, it's game one. Once we're done with that, it's game two, and we just went about our business that way. And I do. I think they really, for some guys that are inexperienced at it, handle themselves very well. I'm so happy for them because I think they really can see if you're a unit, you can get some things accomplished. And if we're going to, as we approach the second round, whoever it may be, it's going to have to be even tighter. So I think this is a really good foundation of you can do some pretty crazy things if you stay together as a unit.
Hi, John, you spoke so eloquently about the fan base here, what they've been through, what they delivered tonight. There's a specific moment in the game. It goes 3-3. And then less than a minute later, you get the man advantage. And the crowd, when they went to 3-3, rose.
Yeah.
Can you go back to that moment and
they
how a
helped us.
crowd,
Yeah, they helped us. And I'm not a big touchy-feely guy as far as talking about how the people, and not that I want to disrespect the crowd, but you kind of focused on the business at hand with your team. But they were fantastic, the two nights here. And it helped us tonight. Because it was a game of ebbs and flows and losing a 2-goal lead. Yeah, that was a key moment as far as that whole building. And we answered with the fourth goal. That was a key moment in the game, obviously. And yeah, I appreciate them. I just being out in the community, the people have been fantastic. Since I've been here, they have just been fantastic. So I'm literally thrilled for them that they get to taste this. And but having said that, it's only one round, and we just gotta enjoy it. The whole team has a couple of days off here, and then we get back to work. I hope I answered it. I hope I answered the question.
Going back many years here, the narrative of every playoff series has been Sergei Bobrovsky's struggles. When you look at the save he makes in the second period of Game 1 and the way that he played tonight when you were under duress there most of the third, how big is this series for him, and how happy are you for him to just totally rewrite all that's been said?
I'm thrilled for him. I think one of the biggest series, and it happened pretty early, was his save at the beginning of the second period, where it could have been them, put them up 4-0, and Nick Foligno scores a goal to make it 3-1. That gets us into some traction. Who knows where it goes? It's crazy how these games get decided on small plays, but that, you know, and tonight, the last 2 third periods, he's been fantastic. I think for, again, the first couple of periods, I thought their goalie was outstanding in the second period to keep him. We could have been 4-5-1, and you knew it was going to come back. But then Bob stood in there. So I thought the second period of their goalie keeping them in, and then Bob just keeping us right there with some tremendous saves in the third period. I'm happy for him. You know, he's not crazy how I have talked about some of the situations he's gone through, but it's my job to hold people accountable. I'm thrilled that he's answering. He's answering, and he's got a bit of a burr, and that's a pretty good thing for an athlete to have.
John, you just touched on this a little bit in that answer, but I was curious. Many of the guys mentioned Bob's saves at that beginning of the second period in Game 1 and Nick's goal. Were there other pivotal moments that you can look back on now in this series that either kept it going the way you needed it to or reversed it back to the way you needed it to?
Well, God, Allison, I can't even think of some of the other ones, but I'll tell you tonight that when it was the delayed penalty and we answer right away to make it 4-3, that's huge. And like Jared was saying, you could see the building was building up to it. When we had the puck, and I thought Brett showed tremendous patience on the delayed call, just keeping the puck, made a couple of seam plays to Luke. I think that's a huge answer when they go 3-3 with the, and you know, their top players played better tonight. Obviously, Kucherov makes a big difference. To answer right away before the end of the second period, I thought that was a huge time for us.
John, your power play was something to behold in this series against a pretty good penalty-killing unit. What did you see as far as their cohesion and effectiveness?
Well, I think our power play got shots through. I think Tex made a difference on our power play. We got some shots through. It's not like we changed a lot within how we break out or break in and run it. We got shots through, and we had some people to the net. Tex scores a goal tonight. I don't think Vasilevsky sees it. We had some people around that net, and as we always talk about with special teams, it gets streaky, and it's a huge part of this series because you look at our power play goals versus theirs. I think that kind of tilts it because I'm not sure what the 5-on-5 goals are. I haven't done the math yet, but the power play certainly helped us tip the scales as far as scoring some goals.
Remarkable is it, and how crucial was it that you had no passengers during this series, from your 19-year-old rookie to your previously playoff-plagued goaltender? Yeah. I mean, there were none. How crucial was that?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think when you get to this situation, and you know that first win in Tampa, the way we did it, that kind of galvanizes you. In situ, Jonesy scores the goal, and it just kind of puts you together. I'm standing behind the bench as the other games we're playing them, and you know we're talking about some back-checking things that we need to do to play against this team. I'm listening to the bench when some guys aren't doing it. I don't have to say a word because it's coming from them, and that's when you can see. I looked at Lars, and it was the last game, Game 3. I heard people screaming at one another to back check, and that's when I said, you know what? They are. It's for a coach. It's really cool to see that because it's usually the coach doing all the yelling about that, but you can see that they had an opportunity against a really good team. They didn't want to see this go by, and again, I'm really happy for the group. You could see them right now. It's you know they're kids and they're acting like kids.
John, Seth Jones in Game 1 had the turnover, and then wound up scoring the game-winning goal. And tonight, did you have a little deja vu with
Yeah.
virtually the same turnover,
Yeah.
virtually the same shot?
Yeah, it's crazy. And again, we come up on the right side of it. It's a great experience for Jonesy to go through again, and where it's a play really he doesn't make those type of plays. At that time when it's 2-0, I think we're going to blow the roof off the building if we score the next one. That changes the whole complexion. But then for him to come back and score a huge goal, and then we answer again when it's 3-3, those are the ebbs and flows that give a young group that hasn't experienced it, especially in a building like this the past couple of nights, to really feel, which we talk about surges all the time, to really feel what surges are in playoff hockey. And we've been fortunate to come up on the right side of some of these. And hopefully we can use that as we get ready to play our next opponent.
Texier came in this playoff with almost no experience. He has a goal tonight. He has the one moment in the corner where he just holds onto the puck or fights for forever. What would you want to say about his performance during this game and during this series and what he adds to this team?
Yeah, it's a time that that he gives us a shot in the arm. He's got another guy that can play top 6, top 9 forward position. He's very aware away from the puck. You saw how I used him tonight and against their top 2 lines. One of their top 2 lines, either Point or Sorelli playing between Stamkos and Kucherov. I just, as I've told you before, I watch him in practice yesterday. I just watch his mannerisms as he goes about his business. He's been coached really well, and I think he's been taught the hierarchy of a room and just how you handle yourself as a pro. It's really exciting now, but more exciting as the future goes on here, what this guy could be.
John, you talk about the galvanizing effects of Game 1 in this series. What's the galvanizing effect of this series now moving forward? Has your team become tighter, stronger, whatever word you want to use there?
Of course. I mean, they just won a series. It was a David and Goliath series here, and they just won it. Of course, that helps them galvanize. Yes.
So what moves forward into the next round? Where has your team gotten better?
That. I don't know how to answer it, Dave. I'm really trying to figure out what you're asking me, but
If you get galvanized from Game 1, you can get galvanized from an entire series.
Yes, we just won a pretty important series for the organization. That helps. Yes. Yes.
Cam has a cut on his chin, he said, from the celebration on the bench when Panarin scored the empty net goal.
Really?
Seth said he felt safer being on the ice when that goal was scored because the bench was so. Can you just describe the scene on the
I
bench?
had beers poured on me from the stands.
Intentionally?
Yeah. Not only
fans?
at the end of the game, but during the game when we scored some goals. I had 2 beers poured on me from the people behind me. Yeah, and that, I was asked by Pierre in the intermission or during the timeout, as far as do you tell your players to keep their composure? Not for a second. I mean, as far as not being too excited. And I told him, no, I want them to enjoy that. And we were composed in how we play. I wasn't worried about that. I want them to enjoy this as far as to see what their building is. Remember last year when we come in here, we just don't get it done at any home game at all. I want them to experience and have fun doing it. I wasn't worried about their composure at all as far as what they're doing on the ice, but that stuff after goals and winning a game, that's what you carry as you keep going forward here in other series. And that's what, to answer your question, Dave, a little bit, I'm really trying like hell. Those are the things that help you as you keep on moving. I look at, well, I'll leave it at that. No, I've answered your question.
You had beer poured on you. Is that why it smells in here?
What's that?
Is that
I'm sorry.
You had the beer poured on you. Is that why it smells in this room?
No, I have nothing to do with the smell in the media room. Nothing. Nothing.